Blog Talk Radio.
You are listening to Shriekfest Radio.
Good evening and welcome to Shriekfest Radio. This is Denise Gossett, the festival founder and director and your hostess for the night. Shriekfest Radio is in its 6th year. Tonight is the 195th show. Super exciting. Let's see, Shriekfest LA is September 26th through the 29th this year, so mark your calendars. And Shriekfest Orlando is November 2nd. We got some great films getting submitted and scripts. So if you are submitting this year, the next cutoff date is May 1st. Get your projects in. We have horror, thriller, sci-fi, fantasy, films, screenplays, shorts and features, a music video category, and we've recently added best performance category. So I'm excited about that, being an actor myself. I should definitely have that category in this festival. Our website is shriekfest.com. You can find entry form and details there. Our next Shriekfest Presents will be May 10th, and it will be Wes Craven's Shocker. And we're going to have special guests, Marianne Madalena and Jeffrey Fenner. So definitely get your tickets. Come check that out. It's at midnight at the New Art. We have teamed up with them to do these Shriekfest Presents every other month. And they're extremely well attended, and we always have cool guests and wonderful giveaways. So definitely check it out. Let's see, the call-in number tonight, if you have a question for myself or my guest, is 657-383-0171, 657-383-0171. And if you're shy and you have a question and you'd rather not be on the air, you could always tweet at Shriekfest or email at shriekfest.com, and I will periodically glance at those and get your questions answered. And while you're ready, give us a follow on Twitter, Shriekfest, and come give us a like on Facebook, Shriekfest. And check out our Shriekfest TV on YouTube. It's a fairly new channel, but we have past Shriekfest short films. We've got past commercials that were submitted in our commercial contest, which is free to enter. Your commercial has to be, of course, about Shriekfest. Mention that this is our 19th year, under a minute, and submit it. And the best one, or one, sometimes it's multiple, will play at the festival, which is kind of cool. It'll play in LA and Orlando, so that's good coverage. And then we will pick a winner from those. So my guest tonight, super excited to have her on. She is a writer, producer, director. She even acts. Becca Flynn. She in 2018 she had an official selection in Shriekfest, a short film called The Candlelight Witch, which is a great short. Becca, welcome to Shriekfest Radio. How are you?
Hi, Denise. I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing great as well. It's good to hear your voice. And have you been well since Shriekfest?
Everything has been going great. We had a great time at Shriekfest, and
Yay.
I even brought my son along, and he watched some of the films. So there you go.
And how old is your son?
He's 14 months.
Getting him started very early, huh?
He's got to learn sometime, you know.
I love it. I love it. What's his name?
His name is Flinn-White.
Oh,
yeah.
I love it.
My married name is White, and so it's Becca Flinn-White, and I named my son Flynn because I loved the last name Flynn.
I love it.
Keep the Flynn name going.
That's perfect. I love it. I think that's great. So I don't remember. Did I meet him? I know he was very young
briefly.
Then.
You had so much going on. I mean, you were running a whole festival, so we snuck by, and his dad and I kind of took turns going in and watching films during the day, and then holding him out in the hallway. But he did watch a couple, so he had a good time.
Awesome. And so, have you always been a horror fan?
I always have been a horror fan. I used to have this little group of girls that I would have over to my house. I even remember, like, in elementary school, and we would just go to the Pop and Go video and find the scariest, campiest thing we could find. And, like, I remember, like, Dr. Giggles and, like, things that, like, we should not have been watching so early on.
Right. Right. And did it give you nightmares?
My uncle would let me watch. When my uncle and his girlfriend were babysitting us, they would let us watch all the horror movies, like Halloween and
oh, wow.
I even remember watching, like, Jacob's Ladder. I mean,
oh, Mike.
Really, yeah. Like,
and you were how old when he was doing all this?
Oh, gosh, I was in elementary school. I mean, too young to be watching Jacob's Ladder, for sure.
How did you handle it? Because,
like,
my daughter's 10, and, I mean, there is no way. She doesn't even like looking at my posters.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't think I would recommend that extreme, but, it was one of those things where it was like the 80s, so it was like really fun, great horror movies and like John Carpenter scores. So there's always something like really exciting about like running downstairs and like watching a couple of minutes and then like running back upstairs and like grabbing my uncle a soda and like bringing him back down and being like, I'm going to sneak in. I do remember, though, being a little traumatized by Gremlins because I had a fever. And I think I must have taken, like, a little bit of cough syrup that was, like, a little bit older than what I should have been taking. I wasn't feeling well. And I remember just being, like, convinced that the Gremlins were going to come out of the toilet and get me. So that one got me.
It's funny you talk about the Gremlins. I was out with a friend the other night, and she was saying how she was going to have her 10-year-old daughter possibly watch the Gremlins. And I was like, no. You're not remembering it. It's not cute and cuddly like you're remembering. No. And so she changed her mind.
I mean, it's one of the great horror movies, and I think the ones that, like, really scare you when you're a kid, like, really get you.
Yeah.
But I also remember Cocoon doing the same thing, like, and that's not really a horror movie, but it was, just kind of a weird movie, and I remember that being, like, scaring the crap out of me, thinking a cocoon was going to, like, hatch out of my closet or something. That one.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, when you're that age, anything. My daughter's scared to death of everything, and I haven't even shown her anything. It's funny because Flynn, he doesn't even really watch TV yet. So he's just like watching like ABC songs on YouTube. But he did watch a few cuts of Candlelight Witch just because we were like, okay, there's nothing else we can do. We need to hold him and feed him. So he's going to have to watch some cuts of this so that we can get the sound right and everything. But he was like 2 months old. He was like not even fully 2 months old when we shot it. I had him February 14th, and then, I was just looking at my email, and our shoot date was April 7th, so almost exactly a year ago was our shoot date. I can't even believe that. Wow.
Crazy.
So how, it's hard enough to make a film.
Yeah.
It's hard enough to make a film, and you did it with a 2-month-old.
I don't know if I would have it to do again. No, I'm kidding. It was funny because we were so used to staying up all night anyway that everybody. It was a night shoot because it was a pretty dark film, and we were using a lot of practical night light, I guess, and it was just crazy because we were like. Yeah, we were fine because we were like, oh, this is just like staying up, but we get to like have someone else babysit our kid while we do our work.
Right.
So we had a babysitter upstairs while we were filming downstairs in this absolutely gorgeous house in Glendale. And he ended up, this is terrible, but he ended up actually like pooping all over the bedspread at this house that we were like renting.
What'd you do?
And so I was like, thank God the owner of the house is the most wonderful woman, and she was like, I had 3 kids. This is no big deal because she was there, and she just tossed it in the laundry and cleaned it up. But I was like, my son literally shit the bed on our our shoot. So that was fun.
Well,
that was an interesting night.
That maybe tops the story. I always like to ask, what's something crazy that happened on set? Well, that would be crazy.
It was nuts. I was like, oh, of course. It was like our first babysitter. Like we were doing, it was like our parents had just left because they were helping us for the first couple months, and they had just left, and, of course we couldn't have done it when Grandma and Grandpa were there. We had to, wait until the most inconvenient time possible to shoot the film. That was
I think I remember shooting a Western when my daughter was 2 months old. And, I'm pumping in the desert. It was ridiculous. And I think as women, we're like, I got to make sure I can get back out there and do what I love to do. And so we kind of push ourselves.
It's pretty nuts, I think it's really cool. I think what's happening now, it's more women being in the field. It's normalizing the family element of filmmaking, because these dads are going, they're also a part of that, child rearing process, but I think until we expect more out of making amends for both men and women, we won't have equality, because they'll just be like, oh, that's the woman's job. The dad will just go and, women will take care of it. But I think the more women we see pumping in the desert like a badass, I think that's when we're going to see some change happen. It's like, oh, wow, yeah, we should have a place for you to be to do that, and I try to make all of my sets super family friendly, and just, even with Candlelight Witch, one of the producers is, she's a wonderful coordinator named Shannon Ayers Swanson. She and her sister have a production services company called Teen Born Dreamer, and they're just absolutely awesome to work with. Highly recommend them for production services and budgeting and everything. And she had a 2-year-old at the time. And so I was like, let me know if you want to bring your kid. We can hire a babysitter and make sure that everything's safe and everything. And she was like, that is so awesome. No one has ever offered to do that, but I was like, I value you and I want you to be able to be there. And, luckily her husband could stay home and take care of the baby, but just wanted the option.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. And I think you're right. The more that women are doing this sort of thing and kind of looking out for each other, the better. Absolutely. And more often we'll see that sort of thing happening, which is great.
I think so.
Now, Todd Spence and Zach White wrote it. How did you guys team up? Had you already worked together?
Yeah, so Zach White is actually my husband. Oh, well,
there we go. Sorry, it's a White. I didn't even think about it. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. That's good. So he and his writing partner have this amazing horror video company called Midnight Video on YouTube. And I just loved all the stuff that they were doing. They were creating a lot of shorts. And I'd never dared to venture into directing a horror feature or a horror short, And so I was like, I really would love to dip my toe into directing the horror genre, because it's kind of a mixture of two things I love, which is, being scared and horror movies, and a little bit of comedy, because I do come from a comedy background, and it's all about the timing. And so I was studying what they were doing, and I was like, I just really want you guys to write something that I could direct, because I love your writing. I feel like I really get their style, by now having worked with them a ton and helping produce a lot of their shorts and even being in one of their shorts. And so while we were coming up with this idea, I was pregnant, and I had this really horrible nightmare about a witch, and a witch that wants to come and steal my baby. And I think it was just because I was on this trying trying to remember what the progesterone kind of gives you weird dreams when you're pregnant.
Sure.
And so I was having these like kind of night terrors, and I remember one really stuck with me. And so I talked to my husband after. I was like, do you think you and Todd would write something for me? And I just worked with these great kids, Connor Kalopsis and Presley Richardson and Brooks Sorensen, on a 25-minute drama that I had directed in South Dakota.
Wow.
And I was like, I just want to like write something for these kids. I think there's something really fun about, kids telling ghost stories at night, and then this witch. I knew I wanted to do something about a witch because I was really scared of this dream that I had. And then they ended up writing this really fun script, and then the rest is kind of history. I was just like, once I got the script, I always try and, for better or for worse, I love to produce. I produce things so I can direct, but I'm pretty, I guess that's maybe kind of my superpower, is being able to like come up with something out of nothing, being like, okay, I'm going to find us a location, I'm going to find us a cast, I'm going to figure out all this SAG stuff and do it on the up and up, and, I just kind of have the ability to see something from like A to Z, and so luckily I had that going for me when I was going into this. But yeah, Jack and Todd are amazing to collaborate with. Their stuff is super fun. If you ever want to check it out, it's Midnight Video on YouTube. Okay,
Midnight Video, and that's just what it's called?
Midnight Video, yeah, YouTube /Midnight Video. They also, they just released another short not that long ago. And, shorts are expensive when you're putting your own cash into it. So they're starting a Patreon too. So I don't know how Patreon even works, but if you want to look up their Patreon, and I'm sure they'll have their shorts on there too.
Cool. Well, you know what I just realized? They did Your Date Is Here.
Yes,
and that was submitted
in
two. Yes. Okay, I'm sitting here going, wait a minute. I recognize the names. So that was submitted in 2017, and do you know that almost got in? Like, I can tell you exactly that whole story, because that's how much I remember that film.
Sweet.
You guys did a great job.
Oh, thank you. That was kind of the impetus for all of this, It was like,
oh, wow.
We want to make our own stuff. We love horror, and Todd and Zach are horror writers and directors, and we finally just said, let's put our money where our mouth is and start making stuff,
I love it. I think it's great. And, of course, I'm a fan of the Candlelight Witch, too, which is so fun. And, they always say don't work with kids, but somehow you've got a couple of really good ones there.
Well, I'm actually an acting coach, so that kind of came from me being able to pull from some of my really talented, amazing young clients that, they just work so hard, and we've all known each other for a long time, and so we have this really great back and forth, and, I don't even have to tell them what to do. They just are such good actors that they just kind of naturally know what we have kind of like a language and a trust back and forth, and they just they knew what to do, and I just really didn't have to adjust their performances that much, only for like practical witch makeup stuff of like, okay, now, look over here because that's what we're going to see, or, more blocking stuff than anything, but their performances were so natural, and, I felt that they were very natural actors. And I've worked with them on Hutterite before, and many auditions I've helped them prepare for, and they're all just terrific.
Oh, wow. That's cool, kind of full circle around. And you got quite a few acting credits.
It's funny. I'll do acting now and then. I do voiceover. I prefer now just to be behind the camera, or, behind the microphone, I'm okay with too. But I don't do a ton of on-camera acting anymore.
Really?
If the right thing came along, I absolutely would. But I really kind of found that I love producing, directing, and writing even more than I love acting, and I love working with actors. And I think that experience as an actor has really helped me to empathize and just be like in wonder of what actors do and have like just the utmost respect and I think understanding of like what you're going through when you're on a set.
Sure.
And like there's a million, different working parts going at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I think I can tell when an actor's hungry because I've been there, I'm like,
right,
that person needs
right.
to eat. Let's take a little break. I can tell that person's fading,
Right, right.
But yeah, I
now,
have done some acting.
Yeah? Do you miss it?
Yeah, I do and I don't. I miss, I really love telling stories and I love performing live. I still do some comedy shows and some improv and stuff. That's really my background, is comedy. But I guess I don't, to be brutally honest, I don't miss the pressure of having to look a certain way. That is the hardest thing for me because I just don't care enough. Like, I want to eat a donut every once in a while, and I don't want to be stressed about it, man. But maybe if the industry comes around a little bit more and is, I think it should be more accepting of people and not as like looks based. But I don't know. There was just something really disempowering about feeling like I'm chasing this thing in an industry that didn't seem to be responding to me, I guess.
What?
Really
You got like 30 credits. What do you mean?
Yeah.
I think they were responding.
It's just, it's a really tough business, and I found creating my own work and, yes, putting myself in things and writing for myself just felt so much more empowering and natural to me than the whole auditioning process and everything and this, like, kind of, I don't know, I don't really want to play the game. I'm not good at being like, okay, someone's going to tell me what to do and how to do it and everything. I think the directing pants were like a better fit for me.
Well, I think
comfy.
that's great that you discovered that and that you found something you're just as passionate about. And you know what? The skills that you know from acting are going to be used even more possibly directing. So I think that's pretty awesome. We might have a caller on here. Let me see.
Oh.
Yeah, let me see. Hi, welcome to Shriekfest Radio. Do you have a question?
Hi, yeah, I was wondering, they always, I saw the short and I really liked it. They always, the saying that you're not supposed to work with animals or children,
right.
It always makes things difficult. Why did you decide to do a short with an entirely child cast?
Yeah, so I actually had a previous working relationship with these kids, and I had brought them all out into the middle of nowhere in South Dakota to shoot a drama short called Hutterite. Right when I was pregnant. It was like probably too early to even tell people I was pregnant. It was like probably like a month or two in. And so these kids, I've been, working with young actors for a long time, and these three particular kids just all were such amazing humans and so bright and so creative that I felt like it was a no-brainer when we worked with Midnight Video to make the script. I knew that these three could handle it. Like, I immediately, when we were kind of working through the script, I was like, I had these three kids in mind, and I almost was kind of shaping it because I had them in mind. I was like, I know these three particular kids can handle this. So, yeah, we had an infant upstairs, 3 kids on set, a tired mom, but
you can handle it all now.
Chicken, and that made all the difference. Yeah. So that was kind of, I just knew that these three particular kids, I know Connor Collapsers just booked a really big Fox multicam pilot with Jason Biggs. He just, I think he just shot that. I hope that gets picked up. That would be awesome. And then I know Brooke just did something for Netflix. I can't remember what show she just booked. And Presley is like working all the time, and she's just a tremendous little force of nature. And such a spooky kid, honestly. Like, I think she is majorly going places, and I could see her really finding a niche in the horror world. So she just, that kind of like spooky little like thing at the end where she looks back and is like, she just chose the one she wants. But like, I didn't have to direct her at all in that moment. She was just like,
that is
such
awesome.
A spooky little weirdo, and so fun to have on set. It's fun to work with kids. I just think it takes the right person, and, you know, make sure that your crew aren't jerks to the kids, you know, because a lot of times you're putting them in adult hours, adult situations, and you just want to make sure that, you know, you have a 10-year-old, you get it. You're like, I don't want my kid being up all night, but we made sure we had lots of M&Ms and creature comforts and things like that for the kids. So, yeah.
Becca, what are you guys working on right now?
So right now I'm finishing out, it's kind of crazy, I'm finishing out a comedy that I just directed and produced called I Am Evelyn Rose. I Am Evelyn Rose, yeah. And it was written by this really fun, hilarious young comedian named Audrey Goodman, and I really think she's going places. She's a terrific writer, very funny comedy writer. And I was able to get some pretty amazing cast. Mindy Sterling is playing the grandma character. And then it was a bunch of women into their grandma ages. Mindy played the grandma. Jim O'Hare played the dad. And then this woman named Helen Slayton Hughes, who's, you know, she was on Parks and Rec. She played Ethel Beavers on Parks and Recreation. She was in it. Patricia Belcher, who was on Teachers and plays, I think, a judge on like every show. And a woman named Lonnie K. Harkless. And all these women are, you know, women of a certain age, and it's a lovely little fun comedy about a girl who gets broken up with, whose parents end up sending her to spend the summer with her grandma because they're sick and tired of her complaining about her breakup, and she has a sleepover with her grandma and her 4 best friends, and they like teach her all about life, and it's very cute and fun.
Sounds like it.
And silly.
We lost our caller, but I wanted to say thank you to our caller for calling in. We didn't get his name.
Oh, yeah.
But that was nice.
Caller.
And yes, thanks, caller. So before we run out of time, where can people find you?
Yeah, so I'm trying to be better about the social media, but it's not going great. But I'm going to learn from you because you are amazing at it. And I'm going to
give you homework, Becca.
I know, it's true. I seriously would maybe we can get together for coffee and I can get a consultation because I am terrible at this. So my Instagram is Becca Flinn-White _filmmaker. Okay. And then my Twitter is, I think it's like B.E. Flinn. I think so. B.E. Flinn. Or B. Flinn.
Yeah, Rebecca Flynn. Or is it Becca Flynn?
Yeah.
One of them.
B.E. Flinn. Yep, there it is. Yeah. There it is. B.E. Flinn. Perfect. And then, like the last time I tweeted was January 7th.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, that's your homework. I want you to tweet some things this week, and you better tag Shriekfest so I have proof.
Yes, ma'am. I will tweet and tag, I promise. And, so those are my known Instas and my known Twitters. I'm sure I have like a million others that I accidentally forgot the password and then got locked out of or something. So,
Becca, thank you so much for coming on. This has been a lot of fun.
Are you kidding? Thank you for having me, Denise. It's been so fun. And, anytime you want to schedule that consultation, I'm around.
I would love that. And you know what? Keep in mind, too, if you have anything you want promoted, just tweet to @Shriekfest. We'll get it retweeted, and we'll help spread the good news.
That sounds great. I'll be tweeting that Patreon at you.
There we go.
When I figure out what a Patreon is.
I know. I'm kind of the same way. I'm like, what is that? I don't really understand.
Well, maybe we can compare notes.
There we go. Sounds
there
great.
We go.
Thank you for being involved with Shriekfest. It was an honor to have you guys. And yeah, keep in touch, and we'll chat soon.
That sounds great. Real big honor. We'll talk soon.
Okay. Have a great night.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
You are listening to Shriekfest Radio.